Hello. The sale of Manchester United is expected to ramp up this week with Sheikh Jassim um, emerges as he has an advantage, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said that he's not willing to be held to ransom or pay like silly money for the purchase of Manchester United or to buy Manchester United. Um, so what's going to happen? The Glazers have set a second deadline. It's thought that Sheikh Jassim could have a bit of an advantage, although that's been widely spoken about that he's willing to bid more than Sir Jim Ratcliffe. We don't know that for sure, but just the fact that we know that the Sheikh has more money. So just that fans are just expecting that ultimately he'll bid higher than Sir Jim. Doesn't mean Sir Jim won't be a preferred bidder. It just depends on the Glazers. Do they want in? Do they want to stay in? Are they looking to raise finances? Nobody really knows. Although I must admit, over the last 24 hours, confidence is growing that the Glazers are looking to actually a full sale. My issue with that is that a full sale of their 69% of the shares that they own, because there's 31% that aren't owned by the Glazers. So now I'm not up to date with business practice, where shares are concerned. But does the sale of 69% of shares automatically force smaller shareholders to accept offers from new owners, or if a majority shareholder is selling their shares, all of their shares, does that force a fire sale? I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments below. Apparently, though, nobody so far. This is according to the Daily Mirror. It's a newspaper here in the UK. Nobody has yet reached a bid of 5 billion. Although, as it's Tuesday today, there has been a lot of talk about new bids going in tomorrow. By the end of the day tomorrow, we should know a lot more. So we can expect tomorrow that all this situation, like not knowing much, maybe someone in the past has bid 4.5 billion, but the Glazers have kind of steadfastly, according to the press, wanted 6 billion. We just don't know. But the front runners are Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani. That's a hell of a name. They both visited Old Trafford last week, and apparently they're back there again this week. But it's been claimed that there's been 8 bids been put in this week. In total, 8 bids. That includes the Sheikh, the Qataris, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But as I mentioned before, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Qataris are considered to be the front runners. But apparently, if a good impression matters, apparently Sir Jim Ratcliffe made a good impression on the Glazers. But do they really care? Does that indicate that they're asking people, well, what will you do if you buy Manchester United? Will you invest in the ground? Will you invest in the training ground? Will you invest in everything that needs to be invested in around the club? Why? But why? My question is, why would they be overly interested in that? Because the kind of things they haven't done themselves. So if you watch other fan channels like the United Stand or United People's TV, the line is always the Glazers aren't really in it to build on United. They're just there to take from United, and I agree. I mean, you'd have to be blind not to have noticed that the Glazers haven't invested in Old Trafford, and even Ronaldo, in his infamous TV interview now, was suggesting that Carrington was outdated, and that there's technology there from when he previously played for the club. Is that true? Who knows? But I mean, the Qataris, and you'd expect Sir Jim Ratcliffe, if they came in, they bought the club, they'd invest across the board. The only doubt for me is, can the Ineos or to Jim Ratcliffe people, if they were to buy the club, can they invest in everything, including the first team? Because as a football fan, for me, yes, okay, Old Trafford needs some work. Some say we need a new ground. But for me, I want to see investment on the pitch, so that's new players. I want Ten Hag to be properly backed, and I don't just mean the short term. I mean over the coming years. I mean, and I think money alone though isn't enough. But if you look at the players we've purchased in the last 10 years, let's say, the managers have had money, maybe not the great amounts of money, but they've had money. The problem has been who they buy and the negotiating tactics used. We've seen that many players go to other clubs because United just seem to be slow at negotiating and unable to make quick decisions. So I would say whoever comes in to buy and buys the club also needs to look at that and make serious improvements there, because money alone won't make improvements in our transfer policy. Personally, I kind of, if you say to me, well, who do you want to take over at United? If it was just about money, it'd be the Qataris. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a United fan, so part of that makes me think, kind of tweaks my heartstrings a little bit and makes me think maybe he's the man. But ultimately, new owners means new era. And if the Glazers are gone, we've got that new era, and we'll see. We'll have to whoever owns the club, give them a chance to show us what they're about. And I think that's all we can do. If you want to comment on anything I've said today, please do, and smash a like on the video and subscribe, please. Thank you.